y'all, so today I am so excited. I'm finally planting my garden for this season. I waited a little bit longer, not super long, but the last frost date here in Washington where I'm at was April 20th. So it is like a little bit later than that now, and I'm finally doing it. I'm just so excited. It got a little cold for a little bit there, so I waited until we've had, you know, a longer stretch of nice weather for my seeds. But this is gonna be like a super friendly, easy how-to. I watched so many gardening videos last year when I was figuring out and starting my garden, and I overthought it so much. So this is my encouragement to you. If you've wanted to start a garden, let's just do it. Let's do it together. Grab some seeds, grab a box, grab pots. You can literally do this in pots. You can do this in beds. You can do this anyway. Like, just get some things. My neighbor is doing it in pots. So anyway, that's just my encouragement to you, is start it. Even if you are in an apartment or anything like that and just have a porch that has good sun, you should do it. So this is gonna be like a friend to another friend, how to start a garden. I am no expert. My first time gardening was last year, but I've had a few people that have asked me how I did that, and I'm gonna share with y'all because honestly, it is so much easier and so much more rewarding than I even thought it was. So we are going to be doing that today. So I'm going to walk you through what I did last year to start my garden. So I have 2 beds in my backyard, and my brothers and dad built those for me, which was super easy, really awesome. Garden bed tutorials, you can find some great ones on YouTube, and they're really easy to make and cheap too. So then I got local compost. Wait, is that compost soil? It's Tag Grow in Washington. I don't know if that's everywhere, but it is so cheap. It was like $10 for a yard. And I think it's just compost. Is it? I don't know. But also your store will have like manure. I got some cow. Is it cow manure? It's not straight up cow manure, but it is like the soil for that. And it was like $3 for a huge bag. So just get some of that. You do not need to get gardening soil. You literally can just get the cheapest thing. But look for your local like soil things. I hope that made sense. But anyway, I'm in Washington right now. Our last frost date was April 20th. I'm starting this a little bit late, but I really don't think that it matters too much. I started really late in the season last year with seeds and some starts, and I had success with it, and it was totally fine. Okay, let's start off with the garden bed, how I did it, and what I did have a whole yard with grass in it, and I just decided to find the place. Look in your yard, find the place that gets the most sunlight. You want a ton of sun. Most of your vegetables are either 6 hours plus or full sun. Honestly, I don't really know, but that's just from everything that I grew, like tomatoes, onions, carrots, the general things. Love sunshine. So find a place in your yard that gets the most sunlight a day, and put your things there. Obviously, it kind of has to work with your yard. You can plop them right in the middle of your yard if you want to, but mine are off to the side, which we'll go out there and I'll show you everything. But what I did was once I figured out where I wanted my beds, I laid cardboard boxes on the bottom to kind of kill the grass under there. Grass has still popped up, which I had to weed. I just put all of that compost dirt, Tag Grow in Washington, that's what I put on there. That's how I prepped my garden beds last year. This year, I was trying to figure out how to do that. All I did was weed it, and I'm gonna go get new topsoil today. Just kind of freshen up the soil. I'm going to mix it around, rake it a little bit, and break up any other roots and grab anything that is kind of dead in there, which I think I cleared it out pretty good last time I did that. But since today is the day that I am fully prepping my garden, that I'm going to do that. When you're picking out what you want in your garden, is look up, if you want to grow carrots, look up what grows great with carrots, what doesn't work with carrots, because each vegetable has things that they don't like growing next to, which is kind of interesting. But pretty much, since I'm sticking to my same kind of plan last year, I kind of know what works for what I want to grow. So like last year I grew zucchini and tomato in the same bed, and I grew carrots and onion next to each other, and then my peppers were next to each other. So look up what you want to grow and figure out what it works well next to, because a lot of things work well together. What I am planting this year. So last year I did tomatoes, onion, carrots, spaghetti squash, zucchini squash, and what else? I did bell peppers, I did poblanos, and eggplant. Zucchini and squash, if you want to grow those, you might want a whole separate bed for that. This year, I don't even know if I'm going to grow any. I might just get one zucchini start, because they explode. They gave me so much zucchini, I didn't even know what to do with it. So here's a few things that I'm gonna tell y'all. So things like lettuces and radishes. On the back of these, they tell you like when to plant them and all that. And these grow really quick. You can seed them, pull them out, put more in constantly, and they don't take up a lot of space. And then I have onions, and I did rainbow carrots this year. So these are super easy to grow. I have some burgundy bush beans, which I guess these grow purple, and then when you cook them, they turn green. So I'm really excited about those. We got these from the farmer's market, and then I got some more romaine because we are planning to eat a lot of salads. Little sketch of my garden bed's right here, and this is like my flower beds. But figure out where the sun comes in, like throughout the day, where the sun lands, because if you have things like tomatoes that grow tall, you don't want to cover up your carrots and your onions, so you don't want the sun blocking and shadowing them. So that's something you'll have to figure out depending on your yard. And so that's kind of what I did last year. So I'm sticking with the same plan I did last year, but I think that's kind of an important to do, just to make sure that your veggies are getting the right amount of sun. So today we're gonna go grab some soil. I'm gonna grab one more tomato start because I just decided I'm not gonna, whatever seeds I have here, I'm not gonna buy any more seeds. I'm gonna buy starts for what I want. So, and mixing the soil around, and something, if you see earthworms, that's always a really good thing. That means your soil's healthy. So I'm gonna mix it around, and then when I put the topsoil on there, I'll mix that around again. Just some fresh soil. Oh yeah, that is like thick right there. I probably should use like a bigger shovel, but this is what we are working with. So I got Steer Grow at my local like hardware store, but really you can just get whatever easy compost. This was only $2.50 for a whole bag, and now I'm just gonna mix it around in there, so I kind of get the fresh soil with the soil from last year mixed around. Little baby tomato plant. I'm really tall, and at the end, by the time the sun comes over here, that is where the sun's gonna be the most. So I don't want anything to shade my other plants. So that's something that you wanna kind of keep in mind when you're planting this. At the store, I ended up getting a little bell pepper. This was my tomato from earlier, and then I got two other kinds of tomatoes because I was talking to a lady and I just couldn't decide which one I should get. So I did these, and I know I'm probably gonna maybe put them in the middle because the beans I think get really tall. So it's, like I said, spacing out for the shadowing. And then I got just some zucchini, and I grew a zucchini last year and it went crazy. So these are 4 separate little guys. This was $1.99, about the price of a pack of seeds, and I know I won't waste any, so I'll probably put these down here because they stay pretty low compared to like tomatoes or other things. Before I start planting everything, I like to just give everything a good water so it's a little bit easier to work with and the soil isn't as loose. I did this last year and I feel like it helped with planting everything. We're gonna start with our little bush beans. And so from what I read, they are gonna be 1 to 2 inches apart and about 1 inch deep. So I'm about 1 inch deep, and I'm just gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna do 2 rows of these maybe. Now they all have their own little pockets, and I'm just gonna like lightly cover them with the soil back over top of them. I have these smaller starts that actually are 3 littler tomato plants that I'm just gonna do a little bit farther off of those. So with tomato plants, when you get them in starts, you are gonna massage the container a little bit, and then I just take my hand and I dump it like this, and you can see all the roots, and I just massage it a little bit. And something about tomato plants is you want to rip off as many of the bottom leaves as you can, because you really want your tomato plant to be sturdy. So I think I ripped off enough to now cover it with dirt up here at this last branch, so it really can be sturdy into the ground. So my beans were right here, so now I'm just going to dig up a little hole here, deep enough for my plant to get in there. And I'm gonna break up the soil a little bit more because last year when I did this, it was brand new soil, so I feel like it was nice and loose, not as compact as it is right now. So that is probably a big enough hole. I'm gonna take my little guy and take my tomato cage. And it seems silly because they're so tiny right now, but they grow really fast, and it's so much easier to do it now rather than when they are so much bigger. Okay, moving on to the little ones. So even this one that is this tiny little tomato plant, it seems sad, but you're gonna pluck the leaves off. So it really is just a tiny little sprout now. And little helpers here. Is this your first garden? Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna break these up because these are 4 little zucchini starts. This was only $1.99 for that many. Wilson's excited. So I'm gonna break this up and put them in here. I'm gonna give these lots and lots of room. I might even move them off just to the side, and then in the middle here I could add radish or something that doesn't take up as much space in the root system. So I'm gonna break these little guys apart. Hi, baby. Okay, I'm starting my carrot and onion seeds, and something with these types, like smaller seeds, I like to just take my shovel and make a little line. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but so the back of your seeds is going to tell you all the information that you need to know. Sorry, I have plants just going everywhere, which is great. And when you get a start, it should have a little like label thing, and on the back of that it'll tell you what it needs to grow, and it is going to tell you all the information you need to know. These are for onions, so it's telling you to place 2 to 3 seeds per inch, and 3 seeds per inch, and then thin to 3 inches apart. So thinning is when you plant all your seeds, and whatever one's growing, you pull the little ones out so the bigger ones have more room to grow. Did I do that last year? No, I didn't do that last year. I didn't thin my plants out, and I still had an abundant amount of growth. I kind of figured that's a little too much work for me, and I didn't really know what that meant. And oops, that plant just wants to say hi. I didn't really know what that meant, so I didn't do it, and it still worked. If your garden is just like overabundant, maybe you should pull them out. I should have pulled some zucchini out because I didn't really need them, and because maybe it would have been better to not have a bunch and just have a few. But anyway, that's thinning when you take out like the weaker ones that are growing. And honestly, I probably won't do that again this year. I'm still learning, so if you know more about thinning, comment down below, and maybe I can like pin the comment if you want to know more about that, because I honestly don't know, and I tried to read a lot and I just was like, I just can't. And then it'll tell you how far apart and how deep they need to be planted. So that's really, really simple to figure out. Don't let that scare you. I struggled so much last year with starting because I just was like planning. The little carrot seeds are so I didn't really say, so I'm kind of just sprinkling them in this line, really cover it up with my soil. And I am just going to repeat the steps for my radishes, my lettuce, my onions, and my kale. Wilson's my little helper over here holding my seed packets, but good water, especially because it was a hot day. This one's already drooping. Everything in there, I'm just gonna give it a good water. Then from here on out, I'll be watering it every morning, unless it's a day that rains. If it's a really hot day, sometimes twice a day, kind of just depends. But I live in Washington, so it really depends on your area, but it rains a lot here, especially still in May. So not super worried about it, but just gotta make sure you water it every day, especially when those seeds are still germinating. Let's see, like how long did lettuce take? 7 to 10 days. So you really want to water them really good every day. So that is what our next step is, but I'm very excited. It's popping up. Also, these are all raspberries that were already here when we moved. So they are abundant, so many, and they're growing back like crazy this year. I tied them back last year, I didn't, and they like fell into the floor. It was hard to mow right here, which we need to do. But yeah, this is amazing. I don't know anything about that other than you have to pick them and then you can throw the rotten ones back in there and they'll grow, which I learned the hard way because I threw them over there and now they've started to come up against the fence and not in this box. So something about raspberries. I think they're pretty easy to grow because these have been like crazy. So in our garden right here, I'm doing some beans, and then we have 3 different types of tomatoes right here. Honestly, don't remember what they are. And then I have nothing right here yet. And then these are just 4 zucchini plants because I don't want as many as I had last year. And then we have a bell pepper. And then we have carrot, onion, lettuce, radish, and kale in here. Nothing is growing yet. So I realized when I was editing this, I never ended this video. So hope y'all enjoyed. I hope this was a little bit helpful. It was kind of all over the place, but it was just like what I am doing to garden and kind of a little bit what I did last year. So if y'all have any questions, you can message me on Instagram. I reply quicker than the comments. And